You gotta look like a warrior. You gotta look like you just came back from killing a buffalo.
But our tribe never hunted buffalo. We were fishermen.
What?
Remember when we unveiled Hollywood's finest indigenous actors? Today we'll be rolling the reels again, this time with a twist. Your votes, your choices. Here are the top 10 Native American actors in Hollywood history. Number 10. Floyd Red Crow Westerman. Make no mistake, Floyd Westerman meant more to the Native American community than most fans of Hollywood will ever know. I mean, sure, he was undeniably a successful musician and actor, but it was his political activism and commitment to standing up for what's right that truly endeared him to his people, the nation, and the world at large. He never had it easy, though. Born in August 1936 on Lake Traverse Indian Reservation, he belonged to the Sisseton Wahpeton Ayote tribe of the Great Sioux Nation. His indigenous name, Kongiduta, translates to Red Crow in the Dakota languages. Alas, his early life was marked by hardship and loss. Orphaned as a child, Westerman did not experience the carefree upbringing typical of many American children. By the age of 7, he was enrolled in the Wahpeton boarding school, a place where he encountered numerous challenges, including the painful reality of sacrificing his cultural identity in exchange for a formal education. Along with his peers, he was compelled to cut his traditionally long hair and was forbidden from speaking his native language. Did that make him pitiful and vindictive? Certainly not. Our Westerman was more than that. While other students went home to their families during summer holidays, he stayed back to help clean and assist the others in chores year-round. Despite the challenges he faced at the boarding school, Westerman found solace in music. Filling the lonely hours with melodies strummed on his guitar, he discovered a profound connection to his inner voice and the power of expression. Fortunately, his musical talent would not go unnoticed. Following a stint in the Marines and college, Westerman's guitar skills paved the way for a burgeoning musical career. He began performing in coffee houses and lounges across Denver, Colorado, captivating audiences with his deep, resonant voice that was perfectly suited for country music. And things only grew from there. He soon became famous as a country western music singer. His songwriting style usually explored and criticized the influence of Europe on Native American communities. In 1969, he released his debut album, Custer Died for Your Sins, inspired by the themes of Native injustice explored in Vine Deloria Jr.'s book of the same name. The album's music became synonymous with the Red Power movement of that era. Aside from his solo work, Westerman partnered with renowned artists such as Jackson Browne, Willie Nelson, and Buffy Sainte-Marie. He was a pretty bigwig in the 1990s. In fact, he joined Sting on a tour just to raise funds for the preservation of endangered rainforests. His passion for music and activism shone through in every chord he played, and in 2006, he released an album titled Floyd Red Crow Westerman, a tribute to Johnny Cash, showcasing his reverence for one of country music's icons. After years of performing as a singer, Westerman discovered his flair for acting. It all began in the 1989 film Renegades. From there, he embarked on a remarkable career, earning acclaim for iconic roles such as Chief Ten Bears in Dances with Wolves and the enigmatic shaman in Oliver Stone's The Doors. He even made it to television, captivating audiences with his portrayal of characters like Uncle Ray in Walker, Texas Ranger, and George in Dharma and Greg. Known for his depth of emotion and authenticity, Westerman brought gravitas to every role, earning widespread admiration for his powerful performances. Irrespective of whatever he featured, his amazing ability to embody wise and dignified characters shone through. And when you couple it with his versatility in portraying diverse roles, it's easy to see why he left a legacy as a respected and beloved figure in Hollywood. In fact, when he died from complications of leukemia at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles on December 13, 2007, the entire industry was in mourning. Looking back, it's sad how he never really had it easy in life. Remember when I told you he had to conform by cutting his hair and speaking exclusively in English during his schooling? This ordeal deeply influenced Westerman's growth and continued to shape his life. As he matured, he faced significant challenges in preserving his heritage and emerged as a vocal supporter of indigenous cultural conversation. Inspired by his friend Dennis Banks, he played a pivotal role in the American Indian movement and participated in the historic standoff at Wounded Knee in 1973. Despite the risks involved, Westerman and his fellow activists fought injustice and raised awareness of indigenous issues on a global scale. Throughout his career, Westerman had used his platform as an artist to advocate for change. His album, The Land Is Your Mother, reflected his connection to his Sisseton Wahpeton Dakota heritage and addressed pressing environmental and social concerns. He even collaborated with singer Harry Belafonte to oppose nuclear power while challenging the use of indigenous stereotypes in sports teams' names.
They just worked on him the way they're working on you.
Number 9. Will Samson Jr. Standing at a towering height of 6 feet and 7 inches, Will Samson Jr. had an imposing figure that was difficult to ignore. Renowned for his portrayal of Chief Bromden, a seemingly deaf and mute character in the 1975 film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and as Crazy Horse in the 1977 western The White Buffalo, Samson is celebrated as one of the most prominent Native American actors, despite his relatively brief 12-year career. Born in 1933 in Okmulgee County, Oklahoma, Samson was a member of the Muskogee Nation, a tribe hailing from the southeastern woodlands. As a child, Samson was incredibly gifted. Only his inquisitive taste and knack for learning nearly everything around him could match it. Take, for instance, his notable talent for painting. While it's well documented that he was a successful painter of Western art, did you know that he learned the skill as a child? Oh, you knew? Well then, how about the fact that it was completely self-taught? Yep, that's right. Will Samson Jr. learned everything there is to know about colors, toning, and the brush without help from anyone else. While serving in the U.S. Navy, he had the chance to gain flying experience, although he never became a Navy pilot officially. He also experimented with jobs in the oil fields and construction. Additionally, he was a really good bull rider. Enthralled by the enchanting world of rodeo performances, he became one and made several friends among cowboys. Competing in rodeos for 20 years, Samson's talents shone mostly in bronco busting, and he was actively involved in the rodeo circuit when producers Saul Zenz and Michael Douglas were searching for a tall Native American actor for the role of Chief Bromden in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Standing at 6 feet 7, Samson was easily recommended to the producers by rodeo announcer Mel Lambert. Despite having no prior acting experience, he was hired based on an interview after extensive efforts to locate him, and the rest became history. Excluding the silver screen, Samson also acted in a number of television series, including 1978's Vegas, where he portrayed the character named Two Leaf. A year later, he earned a nomination for a Genie Award from Canada's Academy of Cinema for his performance as Old Fishhawk in the 1979 film Fish Hawk. Throughout his short-lived career, Samson played a pivotal role in paving the way for American Indian media professionals, contributing to the establishment of the American Indian Film Institute in 1979. The cherry on top, his founding of the American Indian Registry for the Performing Arts, where he also served on the board of directors. Alas, nothing lasts forever. For years, Samson battled with scleroderma, a chronic degenerative condition that affected his heart, lungs, and skin. Throughout his health struggle, his weight plummeted in half, leading to complications linked to malnutrition. After undergoing a heart and lung transplant at Houston Methodist Hospital in Houston, he passed away on June 3, 1987, due to post-operative kidney failure. He was only 53 years old at the time. When discussing the prominent Native American actors who made significant contributions to Hollywood history, the next name on our list is frequently overlooked, a mistake we aim to rectify. Number 8. Irene Bedard. Coming in at number 8 is none other than Irene Bedard, a revered figure in Hollywood who captivated audiences with her extraordinary talent and undeniable beauty. Known for her enthralling performances and striking appearance, Bedard quickly rose to prominence as one of the most beloved Native American actors in the industry. Her ability to portray complex characters with depth and authenticity earned her widespread acclaim and admiration from fans and critics alike. Beyond the silver screen, however, lies a true marvel, an enigma in every sense of the word. Raised in Anchorage, where she also graduated from Anchorage's Diamond High School, Bedard loved staging plays for family and friends. She started out studying philosophy at a college in Pennsylvania before later switching gears to pursue her passion for performing. Once she got her Bachelor of Fine Arts degree from the University of Arts in Philadelphia, she relocated to New York City and co-founded the Chuka Lakolai Theatrical Company, which focuses on Native American stories and culture. But that was just the beginning. In 1994, Bedard made her debut as Mary Crow Dog in the TV movie Lakota Women: Siege at Wounded Knee. The movie depicted the 1970s confrontation between the U.S. government and members of various Native nations, including many from the Pine Ridge Reservation at Wounded Knee, South Dakota. And yeah, it was a big one. Apart from the fact that her portrayal earned her a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress in a Miniseries or Television Film, The role held special significance for Bedard because she had intended to base a one-woman show on Brave Bird's autobiography. However, she couldn't pursue this plan because Jane Fonda had already secured the rights for the TV film adaptation. Don't feel bad though, her biggest break came after that. Remember the 1995 Disney animated movie Pocahontas? Boy, was it a career-defining appearance for her. Her casting as the title character marked a milestone for her and her community, as she became the first non-white actress to voice a Disney princess. She even became a model for many on-screen depictions of the animated character and was chosen as one of People magazine's 50 Most Beautiful People. Despite her disappointment with the movie's deviation from historical accuracy, particularly in portraying Pocahontas as an adult when she encountered John Smith, Bedard still values the film for the important message it conveys to audiences. This appreciation remains with her to this day. Although Irene Bedard is widely recognized for her acting talent and captivating beauty, she is also deeply committed to Native American activism. Raised with an awareness of the importance of Indigenous rights, Bedard has dedicated herself to advocating for critical causes throughout her life. As an adult, she founded Guardians of Sacred Lands, an organization aimed at raising awareness of Native issues and protecting spiritually significant Indian lands. Additionally, Bedard has been actively involved with the American Indian Enterprise and Business Council, working to empower Indigenous communities economically. And who can forget her powerful statement before the U.S. Senate Committee on Indian Affairs back in 2011. Advocating for greater protections for Native women in the Violence Against Women's Act, her testimony highlighted the urgent need for legislative measures to address the systemic issues faced by Indigenous women and girls, shedding light on the ongoing challenges within Native communities. Through her activism, Irene Bedard continues to be a vocal advocate for Indigenous rights and social justice. Speaking of justice, though, Bedard has had her fair share of legal issues over the years. In 2020, Bedard faced 2 separate arrests within a span of 3 days. The charges included alleged domestic violence, assault, disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, and criminal damage. 2 years later, she was yet arrested again, this time for disorderly conduct in Xenia, Ohio. Can you guess who we've got next, though?
Now I am ashamed to be a Chiricahua. I will take the name Mexican enemies have given me. The whites will learn it, and you will learn it.
Number 7. J. Silverheels. Born Harold J. Smith, Mr. Silverheels was the grandson of Mohawk Chief A.G. Smith, and just like the names we've talked about so far, he wasn't short on talent. He raced horses, raised them, and excelled in the world of sports as a lacrosse player. In 1931, he joined the Toronto Tecumsehs, one of the inaugural teams in the newly created Indoor Lacrosse League, established by NHL franchises to utilize arenas during the off-season. Playing under the pseudonym Harry Smith, Silverheels became a standout player for the team. Alongside his brothers and cousins, he competed for various teams across North America, including Buffalo, Rochester, Atlantic City, and Akron throughout the 1930s in the North American Amateur Lacrosse Association. There, his prowess earned him recognition and admiration within the sports community. But hey, if you thought that wasn't heroic, wait till you find out that Silverheels pursued boxing, even participating in the Golden Globes tournament in 1938, where he achieved notable success, finishing second in the middleweight class. Now here's where things get really interesting. After impressing Joe E. Brown with his athleticism while playing lacrosse in Los Angeles in 1937, Silverheels was encouraged to pursue acting. He began his career in motion pictures as an extra and stuntman, appearing in various low-budget features, westerns, and serials under the name Harold Smith and Harry Smith. Adopting his screen name from his lacrosse nickname, Silverheels' talents eventually earned him roles in major films such as Captain from Castle, Key Largo, Lust for Gold, and Broken Arrow, where he showcased his acting skills alongside renowned stars like Tyrone Power, Humphrey Bogart, and Glenn Ford. That said, his greatest achievement in Hollywood came as Tonto on the Lone Ranger TV series from 1949 to 1955. He also appeared in the 1956 and 1958 sequels. Call him a victim of success if you will, but after the series' conclusion, Silverheels sadly got typecast as a Native American character, including his portrayal of a firefighter on the syndicated series Rescue 8, starring Jim Davis and fellow Canadian Lang Jeffries. Eventually, he became a salesman to support his acting income, and even published poems inspired by his youth on the Six Nations Indian Reserve. Don't take this to mean he wasn't a successful actor, though. Throughout his career, Silverheels appeared in a century of films and television series. In 1993, he was inducted into the Hall of Great Western Performers at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City. 4 years later, he got into the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame in the Veteran Player category. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. He was also inducted into the Western New York Entertainment Hall of Fame, and his portrait is proudly displayed in Shays Performing Arts Center in Buffalo, New York. Additionally, he holds a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 6538 Hollywood Boulevard. The one thing to be sad about is that he never lived to witness his own recognition. He died in 1980 from a stroke in Calabasas, California at the age of 67. Number 6. Ruel Tro. Actor, dancer, choreographer, and theater director. Let's be real, guys. If you want a guy who can do it all, it's got to be Ruel Tro. With a career spanning over 4 decades, he's easily one of the most recognizable Native American actors of all time. I mean, who could forget his role in Mel Gibson's Apocalypto as Zero Wolf? Yeah, enough drooling about him. Now let's get to the fun part, how it all began. While most high schoolers go straight to college, Trujillo served in the German military for 3 years. After his discharge, he worked as an alpine ski instructor in New Mexico, where he became famous for his unique style of teaching. Ski Flash magazine even wrote about him. After teaching for many years, he began to get homesick, but not in the traditional sense. He wanted more from his culture. He wanted to learn as much as he could. His solution? Art, the kind linked to his cultural roots. He began his journey in the theater as a scenic painter and secured his first acting job in 1977 as an actor and dancer in a production of Equus in Santa Fe, New Mexico. This marked his debut in a professional theater, despite having no formal training apart from high school drama. Soon after, he started dancing at USC in Los Angeles and experienced his first modern dance and ballet productions, including Philobolus, Martha Graham, and Rudolf Nureyev. Boy, was he hooked. From 1980 to 1987, he trained intensively with the Toronto Dance Theatre and Nicolaus Lewis Dance Lab in New York City, joining Nicolaus Dance Theatre under Alwyn Nicolaus. Enter the 1980s, and he was already co-directing the American Indian Dance Theatre, blending traditional dance with modern storytelling. His choreography, The Shaman's Journey, was adapted into a PBS film. Speaking of film, did you know Trujillo began his screen acting career in 1988 in Canada? To date, he has amassed over 100 film and television credits, and he's showing absolutely no signs of slowing down. So far, his acting journey has been characterized by his versatile roles and profound impact on audiences. Spanning across film, television, and theater, Trujillo's remarkable talent and dedication to his craft shine through. With notable performances in films such as Apocalypto, where he portrayed Zero Wolf, a ruthless antagonist, and Riddick, where he depicted the character Larkspur, Trujillo never fails to embody complex characters with authenticity and depth. His respect and admiration for the entertainment industry are as solid as stone, and it's safe to say that it's not going to change anytime soon. But hey, if you found Ruel Trujillo's life tough and diverse talents fascinating, wait till you see who we've got next. Spoiler alert, he's not only left an indelible mark on his community, but also on the entertainment industry. Number 5. James Youngdeer. Widely regarded as one of the pioneering Native American filmmakers in all of Hollywood, James Young is one of those names that will never be buried under the sands of time. And why would he? His impact on Tinseltown was truly significant, almost surreal. One might say he shaped the genre of one-reel westerns during the silent film era. He was more than just a regular guy. Born in the old Southwest District of Washington, D.C., Youngdeer was given the birth name James Johnson. He enlisted in the U.S. Navy during the Spanish-American War. However, he soon grew disillusioned with the Navy's great prejudices. In 1909, Youngdeer started his acting career in New York, appearing in several one-reel westerns that year. He worked for notable film companies such as Palem, Lubin, Vitagraph, and Biograph. Additionally, he was associated with the New York Motion Picture Company, one of the earliest independent film studios operating under the Bison trademark. And then came his big break. In 1910, Youngdeer was hired to direct for Pathé Frères. Why, you may ask? Well, in the early 20th century America, there was a fascination with all things Native American. In fact, 1/5 of American films were Western, and companies were keen on one thing: establishing national dominance in the genre. However, let's just say the French-based studio in Jersey City had a million strengths, but realistic portrayals of the Old West weren't one of them. They faced heavy criticism for their movies, pushing them to hire Youngdeer to make Indian-themed films instead. And boy, was it a good decision. Young Deer's early Western films stood out for their portrayal of Native Americans without the stereotypical cliches of hostile Indian warriors or attacks on wagon trains. Take, for instance, the exhaustive portrayal of Indians ululating, howling, and screaming around bonfires. His movies were much better. The Indians were figures of heroism and moral authority, but alas, his career went pretty downhill from there, for reasons as murky and strange as almost everything else in his life. In 1913, newspapers in San Francisco were abuzz, with articles accusing Young Deer of involvement in a white slavery ring in Orange County. And like that wasn't already damaging enough, a 21-year-old girl's testimony led to his being charged with statutory rape. Now hold on. Young Deer did claim that he was the target of a racist conspiracy, describing it as the vengeance that the white men meted out to Indians. Given what he felt was tacit approval from the judge, he decided to skip out on his $1,500 bail and leave the United States to have a new life overseas. With hindsight, his choices were somewhat weird. He didn't stop running until he reached East Finchley, a sleepy North London suburb. But here's where things get interesting. Despite writing and directing several films, his British collection is completely lost. Only a handful of poster images and stills remain. Thankfully, though, a few of Young Deer's U.S. pictures escaped destruction and obscurity. Remember White Fawn's Devotion? It was revolutionary in portraying a mixed-race marriage between an Indian and a white settler as a realistic and viable option. The Indian wife was not pressured to assimilate, and when the white husband had to choose between claiming a large inheritance by leaving or staying with his family, he chose to remain with them. Personally, I think it's a gem, guys. In any case, Young Deer inarguably remains one of the most enigmatic icons in Hollywood history. Even the most basic facts of his biography are disputed. For starters, rumor had it that he was a black person trying to pass as a Native American. To date, his name appears nowhere on the Winnebago tribal rolls. You can spend countless hours combing through his history, trying to get the truth from it, or at least something close, but honestly, you're not going to make much progress. I mean, sure, people disappear from history all the time. No written records, no indisputable facts, nor anyone authoritative enough to believe. There are so many reasons why legends can fall in a world of mystery. But James Young Deer, one of the most successful filmmakers of his era, come on, that's gotta be unusual. Was he a brilliant charlatan or a pioneering Native American director who emerged at the forefront of Hollywood cinema? Well, I guess we'll never know. At least the next guy on our list was more conspicuous.
The most evil thing you ever done to another person?
I don't know if I want to answer that.
Come on, tell me.
Number 4. Gary Farmer. Born on June 12, 1953, Gary Dale Farmer is a Canadian actor and musician celebrated for his versatile roles in film and television. He gained widespread acclaim for portraying memorable characters such as Nobody in 1995's Dead Man and in Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai. But perhaps his most notable role came in 1998's Smoke Signals. Sure, he was already a big shot in Hollywood, but it was the film itself that solidified his reputation as a talented actor with a profound ability to bring depth and authenticity to his characters. With a career spanning up to 3 decades, Farmer's performances have earned him 3 nominations for the Independent Spirit Award for Best Supporting Male, proudly showcasing his immense impact on independent cinema and beyond. We can go on and on about why Gary Farmer is undoubtedly an iconic figure in Hollywood. With over 100 film and TV appearances on his resume, and many more projects where that came from, Gary has long demonstrated his ability to effortlessly adapt to any genre as needed. You know what makes him so special? It's a fact that he always gives back to his community. Widely acknowledged as a pioneer in the advancement of First Nations media in Canada, Mr. Farmer was also the founding director of the Aboriginal Voices Radio Network, a premier urban Indian radio network. Born in Ohsweken, Ontario, into the Cayuga Nation and Wolf Clan, Farmer studied photography and film at both Syracuse University and Ryerson Polytechnic University. During his time at the latter, Farmer developed a deep interest in photography and performing arts. He even pursued a major in photography and film production. Additionally, he also became engaged with Native Earth Performing Arts, a Toronto-based theater company that focused on collective creations by Indigenous artists. Describing theater as his first love, Farmer's first acting role was in the 1976 play On the Rim of a Curse, about the Beothuk. He made a couple of television appearances, including an episode of The Littlest Hobo in 1983. But like every great actor, his breakthrough year came bearing gifts, and boy was it a big one. In 1989, he received a nomination for a Dora Award for Best Actor for his performance in Thompson Highway's Dry Lips Oughta Move to Kapukasing. and also won the Best Actor Award in the American Indian Film Festival for his role in the beloved American cult classic Pow Wow Highway. The film created such a stir that American independent filmmaker Jim Jarmusch raved in the Los Angeles Times, saying he just fell in love with Gary's character and the actor himself. To date, Farmer continues to make significant contributions to the entertainment industry, with his influence going beyond acting into public speaking and advocacy for indigenous representation. Today, he is highly sought after as a public speaker and even lectures at colleges and universities across North America, emphasizing the importance of diverse voices in media and the arts. Additionally, he has also taught dramatic arts courses and has organized youth acting camps at 6 nations of the Grand River. In his spare time, he sings and plays the harmonica. Talk about diversified talents. Number 3. Wes Studi. Born December 17, 1947, Wesley Studi is not only the jewel of Hollywood, but also of Native America. Hailing from the Cherokee Nation, the actor and producer is littered with critical acclaim and awards, particularly for his portrayal of Native Americans in film. In 2019, he was awarded an Academy Honorary Award, making him the first Native American and the first indigenous person from North America to receive this prestigious recognition from the Academy. But here's how it all began. Born into a Cherokee family in No Fire Hollow, Oklahoma, Wes Studi was raised by his mother Maggie, a housekeeper, and Andy Studi, a ranch hand. At home, he spoke only Cherokee, instilling in him a deep appreciation and love for his cultural roots. But it's safe to say that education led him to Tinseltown. At the Chilocco Indian Agricultural School for high school, where he graduated in 1964, he pursued vocational training in dry cleaning. Despite this, his passion for the arts grew in strength. At the age of 17, Wes Studi enlisted in the Oklahoma National Guard and underwent basic combat training and advanced individual training at Fort Polk, Louisiana, now Fort Johnson. He later volunteered for active service and was deployed to Vietnam, where he served for 12 months. Following his military discharge, Studi transitioned into Native American activism, notably participating in the Wounded Knee incident at the Pine Ridge Reservation in 1973. His journey into acting began upon his return to civilian life and enrollment at Tulsa Community College. It was there that Studi found his passion for the craft, landed a role in the play The Royal Hunt of the Sun with the American Indian Theater Company. It all went uphill from there. From his early breakthrough in The Trial of the Standing Bear to iconic roles like the Pawnee Warrior in Dances with Wolves, Studi captivated audiences with his raw intensity and authenticity. But that's not all. Remember when I told you he was deep into his culture at a young age? Well, it seeped right into his movies. With immense commitment to portraying Native American history and culture, projects like Geronimo, An American Legend, and the PBS series We Shall Remain were where he spoke Cherokee, showcased his unwavering love for his culture. But hey, his impact transcended the screen. At the 90th Academy Awards, he eloquently represented Native American heritage and received the prestigious Honorary Award, marking a historic milestone in cinema. The New York Times even recognized him among the greatest actors of the 21st century, praising his ability to unveil the complexities of human experience through his commanding presence and profound gaze. So you see, it's safe to say Wes Studi's career transcends cultures and generations. The only person I can think of who might rival him is likely the top name on the list. If you've made it this far, chances are you're having lots of fun. So why don't you hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you stay updated with our latest content. It will only take you a second. While you're at it, let's take a peek into the life of another actor who is credited with reshaping the landscape of one-reel westerns. Number 2. Tanu Cardinal. Arguably the most widely recognized Native actress of her generation, Cardinal has appeared in over 120 films and television programs, including notable works such as Legends of the Fall, Dances with Wolves, Black Robe, Loyalties, and Mohawk Girls. With a career spanning decades, she is praised for her commanding presence, the depth of her performances, and her activism in advocating for the environment. And boy, is she decorated. At the moment, she holds the Order of Canada, has won a Gemini Award, a Governor's General Performing Arts Award for Lifetime Artistic Achievement, a National Aboriginal Achievement Award, and was inducted into Canada's Walk of Fame. But amidst all her amazing laurels, what if I told you Tanu Cardinal came from small beginnings? Born to Julia Cardinal, a woman of Cree and Metis descent, and a Caucasian father who departed when Cardinal was just 6 weeks old. Her grandmother became the primary caregiver when Cardinal was 6 months old. You see, Cardinal's mother was poor and died when she was a child. But that wasn't even the end of her tragedy. Her sister was taken during the 60s scoop, and her brother was murdered at the age of 24. Raised in the hamlet of Anzac, Alberta, near Fort McMurray, Cardinal didn't even have access to basic electricity. But instead of being weighed down by her significant disadvantage, she made it fuel, sparking her imagination during her playtime in the bush. Her transition into acting began early in grade 7, when she took on the title role in Anzac's Christmas concert play, The Wise Old Man. This early experience ignited her passion for storytelling and acting, setting her on a path that would define her life forever. However, it wasn't going to come on a silver platter. Leaving Anzac at the age of 15 to attend Bonnie Doon High School in Edmonton on a bursary, Cardinal encountered the harsh reality of racism firsthand. She saw how damaged her people were from stereotypes and the stark contrast between the rich and her own people. Motivated by these injustices, Cardinal swore she'd challenge nasty stereotypes and showcase the true essence of Indigenous cultures through her acting. But hey, you know what they say, fortune favors the brave. The introduction of Canadian content regulations in the early 1970s opened lots of doors for Indigenous actors in Canadian stories, and you can bet that Cardinal was there to take her chances. She landed her first professional role in a 1971 CBC docudrama about Catholic missionary father Albert Lacombe, while she was actively petitioning for the construction of more schools on Alberta reserves. Personally, I find it amazing how she used her newfound fame to do more for her community. Voicing out against injustices and stereotypes, she used her platform to amplify Indigenous voices and other issues, despite how it got her into trouble. Take, for instance, in August 2011, when she, Margaret Kidder, and a dozen others were arrested while protesting the proposed extension of the Keystone Pipeline. For her contributions to the Native American artistic community, Cardinal received the Eagle Spirit Award. She's also been recognized with the Maclean's Magazine Honor Roll as Actress of the Year, the Outstanding Achievement Award from Toronto Women in Film and Television, and lots more.
All these years being such a go-to guy for that exact area.
Well, I think that...
Number 1. Saginaw Grant. If there's one Native American icon who deserves to be at the top of our list, it's got to be Saginaw Grant. But before you raise your brows in shock, just wait till I spill the beans. Born in 1936 in Pawnee, some of you may know Saginaw Grant from his roles in Breaking Bad and The Lone Ranger, where he portrayed cameos and memorable characters. But what if I told you his acting career began somewhat unexpectedly over 30 years ago? While attending a writing seminar close to San Francisco, a director randomly saw him and picked up his interest. He invited him to appear in an automobile commercial on local television. Grant agreed, and just like that, Grant had an easy pass into Tinseltown. But let's just say it was well-deserved. Growing up on a farm with his 2 brothers and sister, he learned Native American medicine and spiritual ceremonies from his grandfathers, Curvin and Saginaw. Later, he attended Pocona Military Academy and served in the Marine Corps during the Korean War. Before that, however, there was a love for theater. As far back as elementary school, Grant was active into plays, but although he never considered making a professional career out of it, the invitation he received was too big an opportunity to slip away. By the late 1980s, Sir Saginaw Grant had already achieved significant prominence. It started with minor parts in films and television shows before catching a big break as Freddie Manwolf in 1988's War Party, directed by Frank Rodham. Never seen it before? You probably should. The film explores the theme of mistrust between Native Americans and white Americans, and it's basically a masterpiece. Want to know what makes him special, though? Apart from acting and being a powwow dancer, Grant spent a considerable amount of time in Native American countries, advocating for their rights, and fought hard for American Indian military veterans. But don't take this to mean he was only a local hero. He also traveled overseas to speak publicly about Native American life and culture. Sadly, he passed away peacefully in his sleep on July 27, 2021 at the age of 85. But as we raise our glass in celebration of his life, here's a parting piece straight from the heart of Saginaw Grant, the hereditary chief of the Sac and Fox Nation.